What up, y'all? It's your man, Abuamerican. I'm actually doing a video response to a comment. I don't like all this typing because it just takes too much time, and I'm lazy. It's easier to do the video. So anyway, Anthony Nunya. I printed out. I'm looking at his printout here, so this is why I keep on looking down. First and foremost, I want to thank you for your response on the video. It's well written. You were quite polite. Threw some insults here and there, but that's expected because I have an opinion you don't like, and so instead of arguing the statements, you insult the person making the statements, which has become a bad habit of people in the 21st century. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to read through the letter, and I'm going to point for point, go over everything he said here. So he says, "Sir, your generalizations are going to be well received by the white people you apparently need to be accepted and recognized by." I'm not even sure how to dignify this puerile statement with a response. I believe it or not, my videos are about solutions. Believe it or not. I mean, I know it seems like I'm complaining and talking a lot, but let me ask you something. If I give you an algebra problem and you start trying to solve it with calculus formulas, do you think you're going to get the right answer? No. I post this stuff online because I believe it. I feel firmly and emphatically about these topics I speak on. Now, if I go with the premise that I am absolutely, unequivocally correct in all my statements and opinions and ideas, how am I going to work towards a solution? These opinions that I place online on YouTube are here for debate, but nobody really debates me. But I'm waiting because I want to make sure my ideas are correct. If my ideas and concepts are correct, then I can work towards a solution. But if my ideas and concepts are incorrect, how do I fix the problem? If I try and screw something in the wall and it's a flathead and I'm trying to use a Phillips head screwdriver, crosspoint for you who don't know who a Phillips head is, am I using the proper tool for the proper problem? So this is what I'm doing here. I'm placing my ideas out for debate to see if I'm correct. Most of the time people don't come back with anything, and so that's why I actually take the time to respond to people like you when you make comments. So you continue. And as for the white thing, again, it's puerile. It's just childish. Anytime black people are critical of black people, that's the first thing. You're coons, you're sellouts, you're Uncle Toms. Really? Come on, guys. You got to get something new, really. Next. The black women who you just bashed for 20 minutes are doing better in the corporate setting that you described than their black male counterparts. Look up the numbers. They are also far beyond their male counterparts in education. Numbers don't lie. I agree. But I ask you the question, what does that have to do with famous black men marrying or not marrying black women? Let me blink here for you. I see no connection between the two. And actually, what I see is an exacerbation of the problem. There's no connection. There's no connection because this is not what I'm talking about. This wasn't a video about education. This wasn't a video about corporate achievement with black women. Black women are doing actually quite well. They are. Why? But we're going to address this. Black American women, yes, are achieving very well academically and financially in the world, but it has not improved their condition nor the situation. They still rank the lowest on the most dateable women in America. They're ranked bottom, with African American males being the second most sought after men in America, despite doing so poorly in relation to black women. Why? We're in demand and those women aren't. Why? They're achieving all this great stuff and black American men aren't, yet we're in higher demand than the women who are achieving so great. Why? Where's the benefit? I'll tell you what these women are doing. These women are externally projecting what they're looking for. They're looking for a high-achieving, high-paid, high-educated man. And so they're becoming what they're attracted to. But it doesn't work like that. Can you imagine if I went to a woman, oh, boopy boo, oh, baby, dog, boo, boo, and I'm trying to love a woman the way she loves me? It's not going to work. She doesn't want that from me. She wants to love me like that. Now I'm being her, and she's like, whoa, hey, what the hell? This is the same thing that African American women are doing. They're becoming what they want. And now because of hypergamy, it's difficult for her to find a mate because women want to date up or equal to what they are. Equal or up. But how many men are in that category? Especially black men. Not many. So now she's basically priced herself out of the market in multiple fields. First and foremost, education and financially, because she's not going to accept a man who's less educated than her, nor making less money than her. Now she's also put herself out of the market because her primary years for fertility, which are between 16 to 27, and after 27 everything starts going downhill. Even though she can still have kids, this is just biology. This isn't to insult anybody, but this is just biology. Now she's put herself in a position where her neoteny, that's her youthful look, is starting to fade. And what is the number one thing that a man uses to determine the fertility of a woman? What brings him attraction to her? Her neoteny. But now she spent her entire time, her best of her years, becoming what men are, or what she wants in a man. And then she gets out and she spends even more time getting the power career. All the while she's losing her youth and beauty and fertility. And she's not attracting men. Let me tell you something about men. And you should know this because your name is Anthony. Anthony, how many men can live in their basement, jobless, without a car, no money, he's broke, and he's, just a regular dude playing video games? Is that guy going to get a woman? Most likely not. Now let's do the same thing with a woman. We put her in her basement playing video games. She doesn't have a job, a car, or anything special going for her. Is she going to get a man? As long as she doesn't turn herself into a fatty, is she going to get a man? Yes or no? Yes. Why? Because of boobs. Because of a JJ. It's not the same. Men have to provide substance in terms of his person, in terms of his education, and his finances. Why? Because women are nesting creatures. And if she wants to have children, and this is just something passive biology that's inside of her, she needs a man who can provide that lifestyle for her. And that's why they're trying to become what they're looking for. It's just a mixed up biology because men and women have lost who and what they are. This isn't impressive. This isn't what men look for in women. And then, to top it off, what makes it even worse for her is now she has an attitude of arrogance and entitlement. I'm educated and I got all this money. Why should I have to settle for less? Why should I have to do like this? And now she's overlooking guys who would probably be good for her despite being, less educated and earning less money. Even though he'd be able to take care of her. So there's no benefit to her. There's a benefit. Let me not say that. But there's no massive or significant benefit given the current relationship environment between black men and black women for women to be going overeducated like this. It's really, really actually destructive. So then he goes on to say the street type of women that you are describing are not representative of black women in general. You are describing the ones that you've come in contact with in ghetto circumstances, which speak loudly of your domestic setting and station in life as well. So check yourself before you throw stones. I actually find this comical. Although I am African American, I've not set foot in the United States in 27 years. I've lived in Europe. I've traveled to just under 40 countries in my lifetime. I was raised upper middle class. My father is a military vet. My mother was working. If there's a ghetto that I've been to, I was just passing through. And it was in Europe. I've never been to, I've been to a one American ghetto because my father's side of the family did live kind of poor. And we went and visited there for 2 weeks. So I have actually seen the ghetto, but I haven't really lived in it. I don't know ghetto. Now, my experience with African American women comes from the military community. And as you know, African Americans make up a large demographic in the United States military. And so I have a proclivity towards black women, I have to admit. Although I have dated outside my race quite regularly and frequently because of my travels in the world, I do have a very strong proclivity towards black women. Unfortunately, their attitudes don't match my level of interest. It's just, So, for you to make that statement about, my environment or whatever else, I dare say, if you live in America, Mr. Anthony, you do not deal with anything, or have you never have, nor will you ever deal with the caliber of women that I have dealt with in my life. That's not bragging. That's just my travels have brought me that. And you'd be surprised at how much in demand African American men are around the world outside of the United States. Next, you go on to say, sir, also with the ongoing irresponsibility, genocide, and incarceration of black men, the black woman's natural femininity is being affected because largely she is left to fend for herself. I do not disagree. We actually agree on this point 100%. There is a war against black America. And, being solution oriented, had you watched any of my videos, you know that I advocate that African Americans who have common sense, not the ghetto thugs, they need to leave America permanently. You need to get a trade, you need to get a study, you need to find a place and slowly transition from one country to the next, be it Africa, Europe, preferably not Europe, but I'd say like Africa, is probably the best bet long term. You're black people, you're going to fit in no matter what, and no matter what, you're going to keep roots with America. So if you ever freak out or you're worried about like instability, political instability in that nation, you can always go back to America. But I am a strong advocate for bringing value to Africa, meaning you create jobs. Don't go looking for a job. You go there, you create jobs with your trade or your education, and you leave America. The place is a mess. I have never been maltreated by the authorities in any of the countries I've traveled to, close to 40 countries. That says a lot that I, as an African American, can get more respect outside of my own nation than I can inside of America. What kind of madness is that? Why would you stay there? I agree with that point entirely. There is a serious problem in America. There is a racial problem. And you find that even in countries that have racial problems, like the United Kingdom, I live in London. Now, there is like racism here, but the vast majority of the problems in Europe are not racially associated or racially connected. Although you do find you have racists because people like this, Germans and Nazism and whatever else. But here's the thing. America was based off of slavery when it comes to the black-white dynamic in America. And so everything's based off of race. In Europe, everything was based off of lordships, kings, royalty. So everything here is based off of class. So as a person of color, whatever your ethnicity, is, you can do quite well. There's going to be that ceiling because you don't fit into a particular class of people. But that's not connected to your race. We're all under the bus out here. And one thing that's clear to even white people is like, you know what? I don't belong to that specific class, so I'm under the bus with the rest of these people. So I advocate for black Americans, to leave. Absolutely. I agree with you 100% on that. You have no argument with me on that one. Where else? What did you say? Then you go on to say, think about what that does to a woman, brother. Your rant was emotional, not intelligent. You can say it's emotional, but I call it passionate. I'm quite passionate. Even right now, I'm not emotional. I'm just speaking loud and I get fast because I'm passionate about this. Why would I make videos on topics that are, do you want me to sit here and drone on a video for you? No, this is something I feel strongly about. So I speak passionately about it and I get into it because it's a topic I care about. I care about black people, even though I don't have a racist bone in me. I'm not a Pan-Africanist. I've been married to white women, Arab women. I've been married to multiple Africans. I got a whole slew of women I've dealt with in my life. I don't really care. Tomorrow I can marry a black woman. Tomorrow I'll marry an Arab woman. Tomorrow I'll marry a white woman. I don't give a damn. But I don't like seeing black people mistreated. I don't like seeing anyone mistreated. If it was the Mexicans, I'd be, man, what are you doing to the Mexicans? If it was the Chinese or whoever else, I'd be on their side because it's just wrong. I have a value system that doesn't allow me to be racist. I have a family also that won't allow me to be racist because I have a very mixed family. But my values, they're consistent across the board for all races. But yes, right now I do advocate black rights because blacks are getting the short end of the stick in America. We're the underdogs, and Anyway, let's keep on going. He's going on to say, please stop feeding more anti-black female content into the dumbed down psyche of a dead-minded populace. Okay. Let's do a comparison here. There's a restaurant and there's online reviews. It's got 10,000 online reviews. 8,000 of those reviews are bad. 2,000 are good. What would you think of that restaurant? You'd probably think it has bad food and bad service or something's wrong with the place, right? Now, what would you think of those 2,000 people? You'd think these people don't understand quality, and so they just think any restaurant's good because they're not cooking. That person who rated it has a vested interest because it's either like a community thing or it's an ethnicity thing. You know, it's the food from their ethnicity. Or what? Or the person has a vested interest. So this tells me you're a person who doesn't either understand quality of women, and that's why you are trying to be permissive about the bad behavior of African American women. You're invested in it because you're a black person, and you're just doing in-group preference, which a lot of black people do. We just say, okay, these are my people, we can't speak bad about them, or you just don't know. Which is it? Go on YouTube. You're on your YouTube watching right now. Type in Black American women and let's see how much positive comes back and how much negative comes back. This isn't just me. There is a pattern of behavior that can't be just thrown and heaped on to like, oh, it's just you guys talking bad. No, it's bad behavior and people are tired of it. Someone has to call this behavior to account. It has to be rectified. We have to start shaming these people, our people, into proper behavior. Because they're not going to do it themselves. And shutting up about it, what has that brought us? Where's the benefit? If we're quiet about this, are you saying that the problems are just going to magically go away and they're going to fix themselves? One day these thoughts and these club hoes and these gangsters are going to be like, damn, you know what? I'm doing something pretty stupid here. Or is it going to take people who have common sense to say, hey, look, man, maybe what you're doing here, maybe the way you're behaving here is counterproductive to what we're trying to accomplish as a people or just as an individual. Why should we be quiet? Give me the benefit in being quiet. Tell me what's going to be rectified by being quiet. If we just shut up and let the people do whatever else, is it going to spread or is it going to like just magically go away because we're ignoring it? Stick your head in the sand and hope it goes away. This tells me that you're probably related to directly someone who doesn't know how to behave properly and you're just defending it, or you're just doing that blind following in-group preference thing, or black people, we're going to stand up for our own even when they're wrong. Okay, fine, stand up for the black people, but correct them. You got to give me solutions, man, because this just shut up, just be quiet, dumb down populace. So it's not dumb when you got one woman who's got 4 kids from 4 different dudes. You got a guy who's got criminal records, multiple. What community are we talking about here? Do you see white people doing that? When you see a white person screwing up, white people gang up on that person like, you're not dragging us down. The Chinese, when they come to America, they're like, man, you're here to learn and you're here to work. And their kids learn and they work. The Mexicans come to America. Yeah, they got the similar problems, but you know, really they're hardworking people. They don't really let their people slide. When they go off the rail, they go off the rail and they're excommunicated from the communities. Every community except the African American community, because even the African community excommunicates their knuckleheads. They go and they talk to them with family, and when they don't respond, the community talks to them, and when they don't respond, they kick them out of their community. And if you look at my other video, I advocated for that African Americans start building communities, and when you get a knucklehead that comes inside there, you kick them out. Solutions. Give me solutions. Don't give me insults. Have I insulted you one time here? Give me solutions. Give me something I can work with, because I can't work with some of this. I agree with some of your points, but I can't work with any of them because I have long-term plans to try and help my community. And maybe they'll never come to fruition, but all I can do is leave behind my concepts and my ideas for my children to watch my videos and say, hey, you know what? My dad was on to something. My dad had some ideas and maybe they weren't perfect, but I can work with them and continue to build with them. What are you doing? You're here insulting me, a person who's trying to spread a concept and an idea that needs to be spread. I'm not Tommy Sotomayor. I understand what he says, but I disagree with him because he doesn't bring solutions. So give me something, because I'm working towards solutions here. But first and foremost, I need my ideas debated. And you haven't debated my ideas. You threw out some information that was non-connected to the video. You threw out some concepts which I can agree with and a lot that I disagree with. But you haven't given me anything that I can work with and say, hey, you know what? Abuamerican, my ideas are wrong. Let me go back to the lab and work on this so that I can come up with a proper and correct solution to the problems that we're facing as a community and as a people. And even then, my investment, I have to admit, my investment is quite low because I have no intention on returning to America. My solutions are for Americans to leave America and give them a place to come to. But I'm working. What are you doing? This is your man Abuamerican. I'm waiting. Ball's in your court, Anthony. Let's hear it.